Hello everyone. In this video we're going to be taking a look at an article from Politico that was published on March 19th, written by Natalie Fertig and Mona Zhang. Okay, look at the title here. Same old Joe, rebuffing staff who smoke pot fits Biden's MO. They're more concerned, okay, about staffers getting fired for either failing a piss test or admitting they smoked pot at one point or that they do smoke pot than they are about all of the shitty fucking policies and rule by executive fiat that Biden's doing, which goes to show how the legacy media carries water for him when they'll attack him on stupid shit like this, but the really important shit that they're covering for. Look at the lead-in. The White House press secretary acknowledged Friday that marijuana use has led to 5 staffers losing their job. Well, wah fucking wah. As coming from someone who inhaled is saying wah fucking wah. How about you worry about the more important shit than legalization of fucking pot? Okay? How about you call out his, use of executive orders when he said, I'm not going to be a dictator and rule by executive order. And that's exactly what he's done since day one. Anyone surprised that Joe Biden would scrutinize the weed-smoking habits of his White House staff hasn't paid attention to one of the more consistent policy threads of his decades-long career. He's just not ready to embrace cannabis. Of course not. He's the one who put mandatory minimums on possession of marijuana in his crime bill. All right? He wants those private for-profit prisons to be loaded up. Can't exactly have that happen when you have one of the most common, recreational drugs out there being legal. Despite a shift in public opinion towards legalizing marijuana over the past 30 years, the president's more conservative approach to weed policy is well known on Capitol Hill. What I love is these assholes write, and they don't understand proper English. The president is a proper noun. Proper nouns, even if they are a shipwreck senile, referring to a shipwreck senile old fuck like Biden, get capitalized. These assholes don't even know that. You'd think they had to take English when they, were going to journalism school. But and they're saying a more conservative approach to weed policy is well known on Capitol Hill. Excuse me. His zero tolerance bullshit. Okay. White House staffers have been suspended, asked to resign, or placed in a remote work program after admitting to prior marijuana use. Pro-cannabis lawmakers were dismayed Friday, but hardly shocked. Well, excuse me, it's illegal on the federal level. They admitted to committing a fucking crime, which makes it so that you can't work for the federal fucking government. They got fired because they broke the law. They broke federal law. Now, I think weed should be legal. I really do. But they broke when the law gets them fucked. Oh, heaven forbid! Because these were Democrat lackeys, I'm sure, who got shit canned, and we can't have that now, can we? It is another vivid example of the clash between outmoded past policies and where America is and where America is going. Rep. Earl Blumenhammer, Democrat Oregon, Capitol Hill's unofficial weed czar, said in an interview, it's not probably surprising. Well, the current laws say one thing. They violated the law. I'm sure a few of them failed piss tests. Okay. And they got fired because they were committing a crime and a federal employee. You can't exactly have that, but whatever. Blumenhammer is already putting together a letter which other lawmakers seeking clarification from the Biden administration on the dismissals. They were fired for smoking weed, for doing something that's illegal, okay, under federal law that precludes them from being able to work for the federal government. What kind of clarification do you need? That's common fucking sense. Many Republican and Democratic lawmakers, including Vice President Kamala Harris, have shifted their positions on cannabis legalization in recent years. But Biden, who as a senator shepherded the 1994 crime bill that disproportionately hit communities of color and set mandatory minimum sentences for marijuana possession, has never truly warmed to the idea. And what's funny is that 1994 crime bill, okay, they leave out the fact that all the Democrats were intentionally targeting blacks, calling them fucking super predators. Okay? And they did this with multiple fucking with multiple bills that they brought forth. Okay? Going, we need to take care of those super predators. It was blacks they were talking about. And now they're the party for the blacks? They're painting blacks with a wide brush, calling them all super predators. Passing legislation like the crime bill, the 1994 crime bill, where they were doing the super predator thing, and they're supposedly the party for the blacks. I'm sorry, but you got to be a crack-smoking fucking moron to buy into that. As recently last year, Biden's staff rejected marijuana legalization as part of the Democratic Party policy platform. It was a step backwards from 2016 when the party made history by endorsing a pathway to legalization. They did not support descheduling and legalization, said Rep. Barbara Lee, Democrat California, a co-chair of the Congressional Cannabis Caucus, who worked with the Biden campaign on the Democratic Party platform last summer. She's requesting a meeting with the administration to discuss cannabis policy, including the latest uproar about personnel. Well, they broke the fucking law, all right? They broke federal law. Federal employees can't break the fucking law and continue to have their jobs. Sorry, that's how it works. And the thing is, okay, she thinks that after she carried water for Biden, he's going to fucking let her in and listen to her now? The Democrats are really retarded when they think that that's actually going to happen. He used everyone, all right, his puppet masters and him, because he's, I'm sure, got his cogent days. They used you people. You think they're going to friggin' give you the time of day now? Bitch, go smoke a fucking fat joint. And deal with this, because he ain't going to listen to you. What this shows is the impact of those laws. The impact of those laws. They broke the fucking law. Federal employees can't be doing drugs. They got fired for it. It's pretty cut and fucking dry. Instead of endorsing full legalization, Biden's campaign proposed a patchwork of changes to federal drug law that would legalize, decriminalize, and continue to prohibit cannabis in a variety of ways that experts say will be difficult to implement. That's the very point of it. Because if it's difficult to implement, no change is going to happen. This is about the status quo. This is about, he still thinks that he did a good thing with the crime bill. This is about the fact that he knows it targets, that the crime bill targets blacks and those mandatory minimum sentences disproportionately, go after, screw over blacks and Hispanics and all that. He's a racist piece of shit. He's been a racist. He's never changed. A leopard doesn't change its spots. He was one of those ones calling blacks super predators. You don't think, you honestly think all of a sudden he goes from calling them fucking super predators and looking down at them as thugs and criminals to thinking that, they're good people? Of course he doesn't. His approach is very piecemeal, said John Hudick, an expert on cannabis policy and executive powers at the Brookings Institute. It's hard to see how that plays out. The White House's decision to dismiss or penalize employees for marijuana demonstrates the gap between the Biden administration and the majority of his party, who increasingly see decriminalization or outright legalization as a major criminal justice reform issue. Well, here's the thing. If it was legal to fucking smoke weed on a federal level already, if they're in Washington, D.C., which has legalized pot, then they would get to keep their fucking jobs. But you can't have this double standard here. Okay, they broke the law. There are regulations, okay, that say that that a federal employee, cannot be doing illegal drugs and keep their fucking job. They were fired with cause. Deal with it. And they're literally trying to use the fact that political, people from the political class lost their job as a hill to die on pot legalization. This is how retarded these people are. These are elites in comparison to the average person. Now, mind you, they're peons just like us. They just don't know it. But they're higher than us because they're part of the political system. And you think by saying, well, it's wrong, they lost their job for smoking some weed, that's going to curry you favor with the average person? You people are completely out of touch with reality. I got no sympathy for these fucking people. If I want to smoke weed, I'm going to find a fucking job where I can smoke weed. They should have thought about that. They had a choice to make. They could either smoke weed or they could work in Washington, D.C. Sorry they couldn't have their cake and eat it too, but not sorry. These people are fucking retarded. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki downplayed the Daily Beast report on a pair of tweets Friday while saying the security screenings wouldn't automatically disqualify a job candidate who has used marijuana. No, but I'm sure if someone turned out to be a Trump supporter, they wouldn't get a fucking job. I'm sure if someone ever voted Republican in their life, they wouldn't get a fucking job. And I'm sure that she's full of shit. Because people that smoke pot are losing their fucking jobs. Just saying. The bottom line is this. Of the hundreds of people hired, only 5 people had started working at the White House are no longer employed as a result of this policy, she added. Well, you want to know why? Because they were the 5 people stupid enough, all right, to either not have clean piss or they admitted that they smoked pot when it's a federal crime and there are regulations that say that you can't be using illegal drugs in a federal employee. So at least we know who the 5 stupidest fucking people were. What? Because they were stupid enough to admit either they smoked weed or not have clean piss. That's why they got fired. Oh, nearly all of Biden's competitors in the 2020 Democratic presidential primary issued full-throated endorsements of federal marijuana legalization. And 2 years ago, angling for the White House herself, Harris, then a senator from California, joked about smoking pot. No, she didn't joke about smoking pot, you revisionist pieces of shit. She created a bullshit fucking story about smoking pot. It was not a joke. She was playing it completely seriously. She lied through her teeth and said she was listening to Tupac and Biggie before they were even fucking things on the note of the music industry, okay? Smoking weed while listening to them. She wasn't joking. She got caught in a fucking lie. But see, you're dishonest, legacy media, political shitbags. You're not going to admit that. I have, and I did inhale, she told the hosts of The Breakfast Club about smoking in college. It was a long time ago. I think it gives a lot of people joy, and we need more joy. And you conveniently, selectively edit her quote and leave out the fact about her lying about listening to Tupac and fucking Biggie, bitch. Or bitches. You people are pathetic. You people are fucking disgusting. Of the debate stage, Biden's primary opponents took him to task for his reluctance to embrace marijuana legalization. Criminal justice reform advocates blame the harsh drug laws championed by Biden and other lawmakers in the 1990s for locking people up on overly punitive marijuana offenses. But Biden planted himself, suggesting that marijuana was a gateway drug, generating criticism that led him to walk back that statement. Yeah, it's a gateway drug on the note of a gateway to throw you in fucking prison. These for-profit prisons. You don't think the for-profit prison industry was a factor in Biden's crime bill and the criminalization that was involved in it? Bullshit, it wasn't. Of course it was. He also later said he did not think people should be locked up for marijuana and wanted to see marijuana records expunged. A departure from the senator who criticized Republican President George H.W. Bush's anti-drug plan for not going far enough. And what the thing is what's funny is they're talking about this. What did Trump do as president? Oh, that's right. He pardoned people who were, imprisoned with Joe Biden's criminal, increased of criminalization of marijuana. He pardoned those people. Does Trump get credit for that? No. At least not from, outlets like Politico or whatever. We have to join together to ensure that drug dealers are punished swiftly, surely, and severely. We have to hold every drug user accountable, Biden said at the time. And here's the thing. You can go to down the road, okay, in these medical marijuana states like Massachusetts, California, Colorado, in the District of Columbia, you can go to a pot shop and he's talking about drug dealers, Their business is paying taxes now. Now a third of Americans live in a state where marijuana is legal, and a majority support full legalization, including 83% of Democrats. Congress is trending that way, too. The House passed a bill to legalize marijuana in December, and the Senate plans to soon follow suit. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer himself is drafting a new legalization bill and has previously promised that if Democrats led the chamber, legalization would be a priority. They're never going to do it. See, this is what's funny. Joe Biden, politician for over 40 fucking years, didn't do a goddamn fucking thing. Except, the prison industrial complex creates a crime bill that benefits them. Okay, he's basically helped to line his pockets and the pockets of these companies that he's bought and owned for. He's never done anything for the fucking people. Kamala Harris, same thing, okay, as a politician. Pretty much all the Democrats are been that way. And they're trying to act like they're actually going to get something done. They keep claiming they'll get something done to appease the masses, at least in the short term, and then they do whatever the fuck they want. That's the story of life with politics in this country at this point. Senators Bernie Sanders and Schumer have sweeping approaches to cannabis reform, while Biden's strategy, Haddock says, is public policy with a scalpel rather than a hatchet. On the campaign trail, Biden touted his support for decriminalizing cannabis and moving marijuana from Schedule 1 to Schedule 2. Marijuana is classified as a Schedule 1 substance, the most restrictive category alongside heroin and LSD, which Category 1 is supposed to be about not having any medicinal purposes. This is when heroin can be used in place of morphine, giving you much less of it. And they do this in Europe. It has a medical use. All right. In some instances, they've done this in the United States with it. But yet it's a Schedule 1. Okay. LSD, when it comes to psychoanalyzing, has its purposes. Yet it's a Schedule 1. Marijuana, CBDs. All right. On the note of pain and swelling and stuff like that, works very well. But it's Class 1, supposedly no medical uses. THC has medical uses as well. Like the idea of people with cancer patients, or have other diseases where they can't eat. It makes it so people can. The whole schedule system was created by the UN and is arbitrary. All right? Nixon basically copied it from the UN. But hey, whatever. But its proposal suggested a lack of familiarity with federal drug laws. State marijuana regulators, this is just poorly written here, sorry. Attorneys, state marijuana regulators, and cannabis advocates expressed confusion. Wow. Attorneys, state marijuana regulators, and cannabis advocates expressed confusion about his support for decriminalization and rescheduling marijuana. Cocaine and methamphetamine are Schedule 2 substances and still very much criminalized. It would be difficult, though not impossible, to achieve. That's the point. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's all about fucking appeasing the morons without actually appeasing them. Do you honestly think the globalists want that? The only way the globalists want, say, legal pot is if they control it. Like the idea of, say, a Philip Morris, pot company, all right, or an RJ Reynolds, that they own the stock in and that they control. The globalists don't want it legal otherwise. If they don't own it and control it, they don't want it legal. Why do you think he's against this? He's a globalist shit pig. Do the math. As the party's nominee, Biden had new opportunities to embrace a more progressive stance on legalization, but instead dug in his heels. Oh my God. So basically, Politico here is saying, well, because he became the nominee, he should cuck and just legalize it. He should have just chose to do that. But instead he dug in his heels and said no. Jesus Christ. His attempt to bring in the progressive wing of the party, though, through the Unity Task Force with Bernie Sanders, elicited compromises on policy areas like climate change, immigration, and economic policy, but not on marijuana. The only concession Sanders appointees got on weed policy was to remove a budget rider preventing Washington, D.C. from regulating marijuana sales. Even some of Biden's appointees failed to move him on the issue. Well, that's because the globalists, the puppet masters, the ones who are keeping senile Uncle Joe in power, who got him into power, don't want it legal. As head of the Democratic Party, Biden's stance has had the ripple effects. Now, this is what I love. Okay, he's the head of the Democratic Party, but Trump, who was the president and as tradition would be the leader of the Republican Party, isn't the head of the Republican Party in their eyes and shouldn't be. You got to love the double fucking standards these assholes have. But anyway, Biden's stance has had the ripple effect. The party rejected an amendment to support legalization as an official policy plank, instead adopting a platform backing decriminalization and expungement that mirrored Biden's stance on the issue. Harris also changed her rhetoric once she accepted the Democratic nomination as Biden number 2. She changed her stance? No, she showed her true fucking colors. Be honest. All right? She was pandering with her fucking fake story about listening to Tupac and Biggie and smoking the fucking devil's lettuce. All right? She was fucking lying. You're talking about a bitch who kept people in on bullshit fucking drug charges past the time that they were supposed to be in prison to use them as slave fucking labor. You think that bitch wants something like cannabis legal? Of course not. She wants her for-profit prison fucking buddies to be able to fucking keep people in prison, okay, to keep their coffers full, to keep making a profit off of slave fucking labor. You would think Politico, supposedly being a member of the press and upset that, they might lose their special protections if the Supreme Court looks at the situation of, New York Times v. Was it Sullivan? Whatever it was. Okay. Which gave them special protections. But they don't want to actually report on stuff and point out the fact that, she did those things. Why would someone who is keeping people in prison past their release dates to use as slave labor on mostly drug charges, why would she want something legal that would make it so that they couldn't have these people in prison, for these for-profit companies that run prisons to exploit? Just goes to show she was full of shit when she was, on the fact of wanting it legal, besides lying through her teeth about listening to Tupac and Biggie. The lawmaker who in 2019 sponsored comprehensive legalization in the Senate suddenly shifted to touting cannabis decriminalization rather than legalization. But Biden might join his fellow Democrats in time. Brookings Hudak said, "Bullshit. We shouldn't conflate a president who is not a tremendous cannabis reformer with a president who has not changed his views over time," he said. Biden is not where a lot of cannabis reformers would like him to be, but he's not the Joe Biden of 1988 or 1994. Well, of course he isn't the Joe Biden of 1988 or 1994. He's fucking senile now, okay? If he had all of his faculties, he would be the same exact piece of shit, scumbag, waste of space, never did anything in the position that he was in, fucking cocksucker. Wow, that came out total New Englander. Wow, New Englander came out New Englander. Okay, he would be the same fucking cocksucker he was if he wasn't senile. But keep deluding yourselves and lying to people and to yourselves. Why don't you do your fucking job and expose the fact that Kamala Harris might have changed her tune because she was lying in the first place? Anyway, this is such fucking horseshit. I mean, it's complete and total fucking horseshit. They're trying to make it sound like it's a bad thing these people lost their jobs for violating federal regulations by doing illegal drugs and then either failing a piss test or admitting that they were doing the illegal drugs. If you're a federal employee and you smoke weed and you want to keep your job, you deny. All right? Where they do drug testing, you have clean piss on the ready. If you want to smoke weed, you want to have your cake and eat it too, that's what you got to do. They didn't do that. That's on them. All right? 5 people were stupid enough to admit or fail a drug test. That's what this comes down to. And they want to die on this hill of how dare he get rid of these people. Because they want to push the fucking cannabis, legalization agenda. And instead of looking at the fact of, all the actual shit that he's doing that is scummy, shady, shifty, or I should say that his handlers are doing while he's off playing fucking Mario Kart because he's a senile old fuck. This is the hill that they're dying on as opposed to actually reporting on worthwhile shit. This is ridiculous. Anyway, yeah, I've covered this well enough. I'm leaving things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.